This is CBS 12 News at 5.
Now at 5, an undocumented immigrant accused of a sick crime against a senior.
The opportunity to deport him and to save our victim, what she endured, was long ago.
Only on CBS 12 News, the Martin County Sheriff blasts Homeland Security.
A mother dies in a house fire. 3 others barely escape.
I can do. I tried.
Tonight, the hero who raced in to help and his heartbreak for the family.
Breaking news: after 11 days of battle, Israel and Hamas have now agreed on a ceasefire. The news starts now. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Quidantis.
I'm Jim Grimes, only on CBS 12 News. We are now learning more about the man accused of breaking into the home of an 82-year-old woman, tying her up and sexually assaulting her. Turns out he should have never been in the U.S. in the first place.
The sheriff's office tells us Marvin Mendoza was in this country illegally from Guatemala. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 prior felony arrests before this latest attack. CBS 12 News I-Team reporter Danielle Wall is live in Stewart asking how this could happen. Danielle?
Well, Jim and Liz, Sheriff William Snyder tells me that he believes this individual should have been deported long ago. And because he wasn't, he was here staying in this community and able to attack again. When 20-year-old Marvin Elon Mendoza was arrested this week, charged with breaking into this senior community in Stewart and sexually assaulting an 82-year-old woman, it wasn't his first run-in with the law. Court documents show this is the 4th time Mendoza has been arrested on felony charges in Martin County. The first 2 times were for battery and grand theft. He was a juvenile at the time, and prosecutors say details of those cases are sealed. As an adult, he was arrested last year for exposing himself in front of children in this Stewart Park and spent nearly 1 year in jail.
Someone like this should have never been on the street.
Dennis McKenna, a former ICE agent, tells CBS 12 News either the sheriff's office, Border Patrol, or Immigration Services made a big mistake. He says sex crimes should make an individual a priority for deportation.
The immigration system is so convoluted that I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that local law enforcement has almost no influence in the process.
Martin County Sheriff William Snyder points to the feds. He tells the I-Team Mendoza came to the U.S. as an unaccompanied minor and applied for asylum in New York State. At some point, he stopped pursuing the asylum process and became undocumented. Snyder says every time his office has a foreign national in custody, they alert Homeland Security. He says ICE should have deported Mendoza before he had the opportunity to strike again. Who dropped the ball?
Oh, yeah. If the question is who dropped the ball, the answer is unequivocally immigration. The opportunity to deport him and to save our victim, what she endured, was long ago. That train has passed. That ship has sailed. Now he needs to stay in state custody and spend the rest of his life behind bars.
And Jim and Liz, I just got off the phone with a federal source who tells me their information is that Mendoza was in the country legally. Whether that was through an asylum process, it is not clear. But they also tell me that serious crimes, felony charges, would certainly impact an individual's immigration status. So we're going to continue to pursue this story and look into that issue. But for now, we're reporting live in Stewart tonight. Danielle Waugh, CBS 12 News.
All right, here's a little context. Recently released data now shows that last month, more than 178,000 people were caught illegally entering into the United States. That's a 944% increase from just a year ago. This is the highest total for a single month in more than 2 decades. Meantime, the number of deportations carried out by ICE last month fell to less than 3,000 people. That's the lowest monthly level on record.
Israeli leaders have approved a ceasefire to end nearly 2 weeks of combat with Hamas militants.
Yeah, Israel's Secretary of Cabinet say that it has voted unanimously in favor of a mutual and unconditional Gaza truce. Our Thomas Forrester has been following the latest developments.
Yeah, Jim and Liz, the new developments just coming into the CBS 12 newsroom within the past hour. And this just a day after President Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to de-escalate after 11 straight days of fighting. Now, earlier today, rocket attacks by Hamas and allied Islamic Jihad had resumed after an 8-hour pause as Israel continued shelling, saying it aimed to destroy the fraction's military capabilities from future conflicts. Now, concerns had been growing over the worsening humanitarian situation as the conflict continued for the 11th straight day, pushing the Palestinian death toll to more than 220 people, including more than 60 children, as well as 12 people in Israel, with reports of 2 children. Now, as of this hour, President Biden has not commented on the ceasefire agreement. Now, this is a developing story. We'll keep you updated both on air and online at CBS12.com. Jim?
All right, Thomas. Well, as we wait for that ceasefire in the Middle East, if it does hold true, there are meantime reports of anti-Semitic hate crimes on the rise here in the U.S. Tonight, police are investigating a report of a disturbing anti-Semitic incident that occurred near a synagogue in South Florida. Our Lexi Nall's been looking into that. She has the exclusive details tonight.
They say it happened here in Bal Harbour, north of Miami, just before the sun went down. A man on vacation with his family walking down the street after attending services at this synagogue. That's when he said a group of men driving by began shouting and cursing at them.
Just started screaming some derogatory things towards Jewish people out the window. It was free Palestine, then die Jew, F you Jew, I'm going to rape your wife, I'm going to rape your daughter.
Eric Organ was taken completely by surprise when 4 men in an SUV began shouting at his family, even throwing garbage at his 16-year-old daughter.
My first thought was just making sure that my wife and my daughter were moved behind me so, I could take the brunt of anything that was going to happen.
That's when Organ says an armed stranger intervened.
The guy in the car that was behind them who saw everything was going on, all we saw is him pull a gun and get in between. So he was almost there as our guardian angel, protecting us just to see what would happen. And I think once they saw him, that's really when they took off.
Bal Harbour police are now investigating, but the reality is this incident is just one of many in the area. According to the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic incidents in Florida were up 40% in 2020 compared to the year before. And in the wake of the Middle Eastern conflict, there's been another uptick in anti-Jewish hate that the ADL's regional director is calling, quote, more dangerous and violent than ever. Just last week, at a pro-Israel demonstration in Boca Raton, a van covered in anti-Semitic graffiti drove through the crowd, shouting racist slurs before police chased them off.
We have seen Jewish institutions vandalized, and we have seen many protests with messaging that are clearly anti-Semitic in nature. So we are concerned, and we're calling on all leaders to step up and condemn the anti-Semitism.
Here in Bal Harbour, the mayor has a strong message to anyone who tries to spread anti-Jewish hate in his city.
The purpose of these attacks is clear. The purpose of the attacks is to try to put fear into the Jewish community's hearts. And to the perpetrators of this attack, they must know that they're going to fail, like they failed in the past. That we're a strong community and we're a proud community, and we stand strong with the state of Israel and with everything that's happening in Israel, and that no amount of attacks or intimidation tactics are going to work.
For now, many synagogues like the shul have hired their own security. They even came up to our crew to ask why we were taking pictures when we were working on this story. Local law enforcement is the first line of defense in combating these incidents across the country. There are also federal resources available. But despite all the work the ADL and others are doing to expose this anti-Semitic hate, they tell us their biggest fear is they'll never be able to stomp it out completely. Reporting in Bal Harbour, I'm Lexi Nall, CBS 12 News.
Well, breaking now, the Palm Beach County School District just now sending out a letter to parents announcing a new change to this year's mask mandate after last night's school board meeting. Until the end of the year, masks will be optional only in outside settings, but will still be required indoors at all times. Next school year, however, masks will be optional everywhere on campus. Well, hurricane season hasn't even started yet, but there's already action in the Atlantic.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Ferris joining us. He's tracking that, and NOAA's just released hurricane forecast.
Yeah, we have the latest number from NOAA, and it looks like we have a busy season on track as we continue to see those numbers being a little bit aggressive as we go through the beginning of the season. We got one storm out there churning. So NOAA put out there 13 to 20 storms that would be named, and out of those numbers, hurricanes, about 6 to 10, and then major hurricanes, anywhere from 3 to 5. So it's right on point with Colorado State University's numbers there at 17, 8, and 4. So looks like we are seeing a potential busy season as that Atlantic is very warm out there, and those ocean temperatures are going to continue to sustain those storms formation. So take a look at our tropical satellite. We can see that spinning action right there. We've been watching that for the last couple of days, just north and east of Bermuda. Now the numbers and percentages have gone up for formation. 80% over the next 2 days, 90% over the next 5 days of this becoming some type of named storm, which would be Anna, our first name of the season. So we're going to continue to watch that closely. And of course, the water temperatures are only in the mid 70s, but it's kind of drawing in some of that water and warmth from the south. So we're going to watch that closely. And then also one other thing to watch, a little activity down there spinning around in the Gulf of Mexico. Could that become something? Because that's in the warmest waters around the area. I'm going to track the latest storm and show you where the path of that storm will be going coming up in my forecast.
Toxic algae discovered in a canal in western Palm Beach County. CBS 12's Lena Salzbank is live near Lake Worth. And Lena, what does it look like out there?
Well, if you take a look into the water, it pretty much looks just like water, and you're not really smelling anything right now, but that could be because of the heavy winds. But if you do look along the loch, you will see that there is still some green algae out there floating along the loch there. It is moving, but that could be because of those heavy winds. Now, this is the C51 canal, which is one of the largest canals in Palm Beach County. So when a sample water test came back with toxic readings 10 times higher than what is deemed safe from officials, they closed the structure. Since Friday, the toxicity tests have slowly been going down, which is good news. The area that depends on this canal as a water source are getting it from other places. Now, officials tell me that they will be out here on Monday making sure that the water is clean. They will continue to check the water out here to make sure the toxicity keeps going down. In Lake Worth, Lena Salzbank, CBS 12 News.
Next at 5, why 92% of people in wealthy Palm Beach are vaccinated compared to 29% in lower income zip codes, and what's being done to address the issue.
Sharing her story, the girl nearly kidnapped off the streets, recounting her frightening moments.
More than $1 billion forgotten, sitting and waiting to be picked up. How to find out if you have an IOU.